or the internet. Once again, I'm already Minister Israel, son of Ezekiel Israel. And we got to get the second portion of our Sabbath services started. But once again, I'd like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Holy One of Israel, whose name alone is Yahweh by saying Holy Yah. I'm going to start off this portion of our Sabbath services off with some praising by the two young lions of Yehuda, young YisraEL Israel, and young Yehuda Israel. Holy Yah.
Praise God. 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 Hallelujah. Today we gonna praise God every day. Cause today is the day that we gonna praise God every day. So if you with me, put your hands up and shout Yahweh's name. We gonna praise God every day. If you with me, come on. Yeah, we gonna party night. We gonna party night. Everybody gonna praise God like so. If you with me, come on. Yeah, we gonna praise God every day. Yeah, we gonna praise God every day. Yeah, we gonna praise God every day. Now I said this, yeah. All the Israelites come to Bible class, and we gonna serve y'all no matter what they say. We gonna do it every day, so if you with me, put your hands up and say Yahweh's name high as you can. Yeah, we gonna praise God. Yeah, no matter what they say, we still gonna praise God. Yeah, we'll blow your mind. So come on, we gonna praise God every day. Yeah, we gonna praise God every day. You with me, put your hands up and say Yahweh's name. You with me, come on. Yeah, we gonna praise God. Yeah, we gonna come on, praise God. Yeah, we gonna come on, praise God. Yes, don't come on, pray for me. If you with me, put your hands up. If you with me, put your hands up. If you're not with me, just sit down and just do nothing. Yeah, we gonna praise God every day. If you with me, go come on. Come on. We gonna praise God. Come on. We don't keep on saying this to you remember every time. We're gonna do this. Yeah, we gonna praise God. We gonna praise God. And I said this. So come on, let's praise God. 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 Hallelujah. Praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Praise God. Come on. Praise God. Praise God. Yeah, we gonna praise God. Come on, if you with me, praise God. Come on, put your hands up and say Yahweh's name. I heard you. Yeah, we gonna praise God. Yeah, we gonna praise God. So come on, yeah, we gonna praise God. Yeah, if you with me, put your hands up. Come on. Praise God. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. Hallelujah. Praise God. 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 Yeah, you gonna praise God? You gonna praise God every day. If you with me, stand up. Come on. If you with me, stand up. Come on. If you with me, stand up. Yeah, don't sit down. You gonna praise God. Almighty. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. We gonna praise God with all Almighty. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. We gonna praise God with all Almighty. Don't sit down, don't sit down, don't praise Him all night. Yeah. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God. Yeah, today is the day that we praise God. Yeah, don't sit down. Don't sit down. We gonna praise God every day. Yeah, you with me, put your hands up. You with me, put your hands up. Put your hands up. Yeah. Now say it. Yeah. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Praise God. Yeah, come on, praise God every day. With me, stand up, yeah.
All right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. They got the longest song version. Thank you, mighty God. But at this time, we got to call for for the royal T. He's gonna do one of his poems for us here. Now, so we're gonna give my hand. Hallelujah.
I'm gonna do this piece. This piece is called Angel. Angel, rain the mist of prosperity on me. Shower me with your love. Angel, if you are heaven sent, then prove to me that your spirit was meant to be my holy being, my virtue, my guardian. Angel, show me the truth, the way, and the light. Show me that through my trials and tribulations, I can overcome this fight with my adversaries. It may seem scary, but I ain't scared. It may seem scary, however, I'm not scared. I'm the vanguard, the front line, so I must be prepared for battle, for war, for death, for destruction. You have to tear down and root out in order for construction. So I stand here, steadfast, in the word of my true and living Creator. So I stand here, steadfast, in the word of my true and living Creator. I'm His battle. Excuse me. So I stand here, steadfast, in the word of my true and living Creator. I'm His battle axe. He's my shield. I'm saved with His favor. All in all, I'm ready for Yahweh's prophecy to keep being revealed, to take flight on your wings and fly over the hills of Zion, my angel. Thank you.
So another poet is gonna come forth, Brother Minister YisraEL in Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
This piece doesn't have a title yet. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
He moves mountains with just His words. He formed us from the dust of the earth. From birth, He knew us. He separated light from darkness and gave purpose to seasons. He strengthens the feet of His saints to walk on oppressed ground. His lightnings are signals from heaven that all should worship Him. His thunderous voice commands the trembling of His creations. Men are tried just by His wink. The elements do His bidding when occasioned. With no hesitation, the waters bow to His presence. See, His presence is a gift to the righteous, but a two-edged sword to the wicked. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
We have another poet. We'd like to come forward, Sister Don. Hallelujah.
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 Yahweh goes all the glory for all the things created in the earth, in the sky, and in the waters up under the earth. He alone is the creator of all things, both good and evil. There is a scourge upon this land. It's nothing new. It's just a new form. See, there was a time when there were men in the earth who were fierce. They were warriors. They were soldiers who girded their loins with their swords to go fight in the name of Yahweh, to destroy nations, to weed out evil. Now, men are fierce. Not with swords. They yield the rainbow out of its natural existence. Their war is the battle of other queers, or on the runway designing clothes that they designed. The tights that they wear were designed for women. The heights that they reach are because they got on stilettos. Not because they're aspiring to righteousness, but because they are trying to be the biggest queen. I'm sorry, all the queens that I know about were females. So we have been brought so low that the men no longer want to be kings. They want to be queens. And the queens want to be kings because they're rising up in the world. There's no glass ceiling for them anymore. They have been raising children since the time of slavery by themselves, so now they don't need a man. Go tell me the world ain't turned upside down. And then, to top it off, is if we don't know that all of this exists, we are bombarded with these images on a daily basis, via the internet, via the television, via the radio. Watch a movie next time and see where the sister is. She's in a high position that really means not. She's going to go lay with the white man that is actually running things, and he will treat her like a whore. The man that's there, he will be treated like a woman, left or not. But that's okay, because the men can strut the streets and still be fierce and fabulous, and the women walk around in their pantsuits talking about they are the man and go suck my Really? We have fallen so low, and the thing is that we don't even see it. We view it as progress. Everything is open. Everything is accepted. Fire burning, it should not be. What you don't understand is that you have opened a box to where the only prize in there, in that box of cereal, is destruction. Things get worse before they are eliminated. You don't believe what I'm saying, check history. And that's the history they wrote. They know. The ultimate goal is for your destruction. But you're so engraved in it emotionally, and it appeals to your ego. It appeals to the things that you like and the things that you so-called enjoy. It appeals to your self-esteem because they got rid of that 400 years ago. Now they rebuilding it in a way that they see fit. And we are so blind that we are letting them. They build us like a child plays with Legos. So, what do? You knock them Legos off the table and let them black scatter on the floor, and you rebuild according to the statutes of the creator of all things. You really want to be a fierce man? Take off them heels. Think about your true purpose in the earth. Yahweh did not create creatures to multiply via being with other creatures of the same gender. That does not exist in nature. If it does, it's a mutation because it's been exposed to something else. You can check that in a science book. You want to rebuild, you got to get right with the Most High. You don't need JC to get to Yahweh. JC is a recent creation. They weren't talking about JC when Yahweh destroyed the world. They weren't talking about JC when David conquered nations with the help of the Most High. JC did not exist. That was something that was brought in to control you. Guess what? It has worked. Because now we out of control. Trust and believe. If you don't take off this frontery, all this bull that Babylon had told you if it's okay, if you don't stop eating these supposed sweets that's giving you diabetes, I'm not talking about cookies and candy. I'm talking about figuratively. If you don't stop swallowing and digesting all of the lies that Babylon is feeding you, if you don't set that to the side and take something good, some bitter herbs that's going to get your mind right, if you don't stop, Yahweh is going to destroy you. That is truly fierce.
We got one more. Right, one more poet. They're gonna come forth and praise the mighty Yah. And that's the elder. Oh, the elder, Yimmy,
Somebody give me a quick definition real quick before I begin of what transition, what that word means to them. Matter of fact, change.
Adapt to change.
Adapt to change. Transition is the state that brought peace to my mind. I'm not hooked like a big fish caught up in your line. Oppression by a leader to the people. Now who's blind? I set myself free to see my future. Now I'm fine. Obsessed is a damn shame. Oppressed like a sweeping rain. Damn, he must be in pain. A servant or a damn shame. It's about my life. You know, it's not about a damn game. All praises to my Yahweh, on him, he's got us all. To the people, serve with righteousness, because if you don't, we fall. If we need him, we got his number. All we have to do is call. This ain't a fashion, not a trend. You can't buy this at the mall. I cut my ties, say goodbye, now I'm serving y'all with y'all. See, because the leader tried to sell me lies, but I ain't buying that. And others trying to hold on strong, they ain't bailed yet. I'm looking for a just balance. So where these scales at? We are brothers keepers, so tell me, why can't you dig that? He's a man of war. So tell me, why can't you dig that? Just messed up, but keep on going. I'm a man of war. So tell me where you train at. Because real men put in work for Mortal Kombat. And you can't say, Jack, homie, if your name ain't Pat. It ain't hard as men stay at home. Because we don't roll like that. Yeah, that's the title of my life. I was trying to do that last night.
Show enough.
That was beautiful.
Enough.
See how blessed we are? See how blessed we are? This great congregation of mighty Yah. Well, we're going to continue with our evening services. And I'm honored to call up the next speaker, who is happened to be the head minister here at the house of Yehuda. Speaking of none other than Minister Marie Ziki in Israel, a servant of Yah, studied on the Great Lake service of Israel, and Marie you Israel for over 20 years. Is a dedicated servant of Yah, a teacher of what thus said Yah, what thus said Yah only. So let's all rise and welcome one of the servants of Yah, Minister Ziki in Israel. I say hallelujah. 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 Praise God. Yah is righteous all the time.
Thank you, Marie. Your help. And first and foremost, let's give praises and honor to the creator of the heavens, the earth, the seas, and all that therein is by saying hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And welcome back to the second portion of today's class.
to the internet audience. And it's good to be in the sanctuary of the living. To give praises to the mighty God. One more day.
Hallelujah.
Let's open up with Psalms 41. I had it right before me, and my dear brother is born, knocked me out of my seat. Psalms 41. Blessed is he that considereth the poor. Yahweh will deliver him in time of trouble. Yahweh will preserve him and keep him alive, and he shall be blessed upon the earth. And thou wilt not deliver him unto the will of his enemies. Yahweh will strengthen him upon the bed of languishing. Thou wilt make all his bed in his sickness. I said, Yahweh, be merciful unto me. Heal my soul, for I have sinned against thee. My enemies speak evil of me. When shall he die, and his name perish? And if he comes to see me, he speaketh vanity. His heart gathereth iniquity to himself. When he goeth abroad, he telleth it. All that hate me whisper together against me. Against me do they devise my hurt. And evil disease say they, we will pass unto him. And now that he rises, he shall rise up no more. Yea, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat of my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. But thou, Yahweh, be merciful unto me, and raise me up, that I may requite them. By this I know that thou favorest me, because my enemy doth not triumph over me. And as for me, thou holdest me in my integrity, and settest me before thy face forever. Blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. Amen and amen. Hallelujah! 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 Praise the mighty God. God is righteous all the time. Are there any comments on this great song? But before we go to comments, I'm going to ask you the question I asked some time ago. And I expect the same answer. Whose class is this?
Yahweh's
Again, whose class is this?
Yahweh's class.
One more time, so that everyone can hear it over the internet and in this building. We're on the ground floor, let everyone upstairs on the second and third floor hear. Whose class is this?
Yahweh's class.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And that is something we in the house of Yahuwah should never forget. This is Yahweh's class, regardless of how many ministers come through here. This is always Yahweh's class. Now, for comments on Psalms 41, are there any comments? Yes, sir, Maureen Yoel.
I got a comment on a verse that David stated that his own familiar friend whom he trusted did lift up his heel and rose up against him. But when I studied the Holy Scriptures, and that was something that was a lot common in Israel, where you'll find with the leaders of our people that Yah chose, you'll find occasions where men rose up against them. But in this case, it was his own familiar friend, somebody that he was familiar with, somebody that he never thought would turn on him in that matter. And Jeremiah said, "Trust not in any brother or any neighbor, because every man will supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders." And that's something we gotta be mindful of. You dealing with men, not y'all.
That's right.
With men. That's why I started off with my lesson dealt with trusting in y'all.
Yes, sir.
Because men will lie to you. Your friends will lie to you.
That's right.
And you don't put all your trust in no man. But he trusted in his own familiar friend, and it was shocking to him. And these were people that he ate bread with, broke bread with.
That's right.
Walked into the house of Yah in company.
That's right.
And all I'm saying, praise Yah, hallelujah. But we don't know what's in the depths of each other's heart. But Yah do. And David didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a lesson. It's a lesson to be learned.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to go along with that, when you look at verse 7, it says, all that hate me whisper together against me. Against me do they devise my hurt. And he's still talking about those that not only acquaintances, but friends. They say shalom to you every Shabbat day or every day that they greet you. They greet you in the words of shalom, which shalom means what? Peace. But there is no peace because they're vast. They've been mischievous against you. Whisper together against you and devising your hurt. That's why we've said so many times, sometimes even though those that you break bread with, those that you confederate with on the Shabbat day, maybe outside of the Shabbat day, we develop that relationship. Sometimes you have to evaluate whether or not they're really your friend. And you really have to take heed to it. Because Moriah said, Jeremiah, he gave Jeremiah the prophet the words of wisdom to pass on to the people. That every brother will be supplanted. If you know what supplant means, that means to deceive. And what is the greatest way to deceive? To befriend you. Yes, I'm over here, UL.
Yeah, and I believe a lot of us don't know what a friend is, though, as well. We got a misused perception of what's a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that causes a lot of our downfalls. Because a friend is one that's going to reprove you.
That's right.
He's going to correct you.
That's right.
And when you correct it by your friend, you got to be able to take that correction as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a whole messed up mind state of a friend. A friend is not going to use you.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Just to achieve his objectives. Not a friend.
That's right.
He's not going to lie to you.
Absolutely.
Not a friend.
That's right.
So we got a whole thing of what actually a friend is, and sometimes our friends is our enemies, and sometimes we don't make people our enemies that are truly what's a friend.
Mm-hmm.
We got everything backwards. We call evil good and good evil.
Right. And what you're saying is, and it's so true, that we have been westernized and every other kind of knives that you can come up with because of our own wicked doings. That we don't know the difference between good and evil. We don't know the difference. We think that if a friend does reprove us, that he hates us. That he's no longer our friend, he's our enemy. And the one that gives us greetings with flattering lips, and every word that comes out of their mouth in regards to us is some type of praise or honor. That, hey, she's my friend, he's my friend. No, the true friend is going to tell you the bad and the good. But we don't know the difference. We're actually a backward, understanding people. And that's something, that we have to consider on a daily basis. Any other comments on this great song? Yes, sir, Elder Young.
In addition to what yourself and Maury Yoel just said in regards to a friend, see, a real friend, because you're right, a lot of people don't know what a real friend is. Sometimes they mistake friends for, there should be an association, or I'm an associate of, instead of putting it under the friend category. But a real friend gonna love you at all times. See, a real friend gonna look out for you when you're not wise enough to look out for yourself. Along with a real friend correcting you when you're wrong. You see? But because we're friends, if you're my good friend, I ain't gonna correct you because we boys. But somebody else, I'll be quick to correct. That's out of order. It's not a just balance. It's just not. Matter of fact, that's evil. That's evil. But I would like to also respond to starting at verse 10 of this song up to 12. Because as I stated earlier, there's two things that stand in our way: pride and a lack of integrity. So starting at the 10th verse said, "But thou, O Yahweh, be merciful unto me, and raise me up, that I might requite them. By this I know that thou favorest me, because mine enemy doth not triumph over me. And as for me, thou upholdest me in mine integrity, and set me before thy face forever." That's letting me know, and I can only speak for me. If I don't have integrity, and we have to understand what part that integrity play and how your integrity should be according to the Almighty's law and in your heart. If I don't have that, I shouldn't look for salvation. I shouldn't look for the Almighty's mercy, because that means I'm not walking upright. And in order to get that gift of that eternal life and be amongst that number that get to make it home, if I'm lacking in that department, then shame on me. All I can hope for at that time is the Almighty's mercy. But even it says only because ain't none of us perfect, but we all sin. So all we have to look forward to is the Almighty being merciful upon us. But like I say, if we lacking in that character, meaning that integrity, if we just faking the funk, so to speak, shame on us. Shame on me. That means I'm not walking uprightly, and I'm just putting on a big front. Right? Because with every good lie, you have to have a small element of truth. So I put a little bit of truth in there, but I'm just walking that big lie, which will make me a big what? Hypocrite. That's right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Elder Kim, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, ma'am.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Just wanted to comment on 13.
Yes, ma'am.
Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Israel from everlasting to everlasting. Just as it says, just want to praise Yah, from here and henceforth, So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir, Elder.
I like number one. It really touches me. Blessed be that considers the poor, the Lord will deliver him from all his troubles.
Yes, sir.
I used to work in Overland, which was considered the most dangerous area in Cincinnati. And Elder Young can vouch for this. He worked across the street from me. And I used to give to a couple of women that I think they was mentally had mental problems, and I was always constantly, they would look me and my partner up for money, and we'd be glad to give it to them. And my co-workers would say, "Hey, don't tell me what they doing with that money." I said, "I don't care, they got problems." Mm-hmm. And working in Over the Rhine, I had a gun pulled out on me about twice. And I worked there for about 12 years, so I know y'all delivered me. Mm-hmm. from my troubles.
That's right.
Now, so I say,
Hallelujah. And too many times we pass our blessings over for for just a thing that happened at the moment. You know, a fortune of good luck. There's no such thing as good luck or curses. Either blessing, there's such thing as cursing. I meant to say there's no such thing as bad luck or good luck.
Yes, sir.
You're either blessed or you curse.
Yes, sir.
And too many times we don't want to give the credit to the Most High for saving ourselves when we get in a pickle. And too many times we don't even realize exactly what's taking place because we've been so westernized and we've been so far away from the Most High that we don't even recognize a blessing when it comes to us. And I know what the override is like. I used to live there. So I know what it's like. It's even worse now than when it was when I lived there. Yes, Sister Donna.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I also wanted to comment on verse 1.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
1, it speaks to me the humanity that David had, because Yahweh said that the poor would always be among us.
Mhm.
And David was a king. That means there was no amount of wealth that was limited to him. And he was even so humble as to say, blessed be he that considereth the poor. He acknowledged the poor.
Mhm.
A lot of people, when they become a thousandaire, let alone a millionaire or billionaire, they just totally distance themselves from poor people. Like, ew. Like, they're just so wretched that they're not even to be acknowledged. Even politicians, like, they enact things to see how they can get rid of the poor because there's just so many of them in the earth and they're taking away resources. It's ridiculous. But, hallelujah, David, like I said, he had the humility and the humanity enough to even consider them when Yahweh said they would always be among us.
That's right. And what should we do? We should do the same thing, right?
I have been poor most of my life, and I know any blessing that I got, it came from Yahweh. Regardless of who put it in front of me, ultimately, it came from Yah. So,
Yeah.
if I got $1 that I could give, I'm happy to give it.
And we sometimes have been in that delusion that because we're poor, and we are poor, that we can't give to the poor. And you hear too many black people say too many times, I'm poor myself. I don't have anything to give. I don't have anything to give. But you can always give something. Always. There's nothing more than your time. There's nothing more than to show somebody how to get some resource. You may not have enough food on hand but you could share a sandwich. But you may not have enough food on hand to supply them for lunch, dinner, breakfast. But you can lead them to a place where they can get that. There's always something you can do for the poor. Even being poor yourself. Always. Are there any other comments on this great song? If not, we'll move to current events. If anyone has any current events. Elder Kim, this is the job.
Well, I just had something that I seen on the news that it was really kind of, just to hear it was really, ironic. But it was like, it's two things. This female, Danielle Watts, she was in the movie, I guess she was the wife of the guy in Django Unchained. She's a black girl. She was arrested and put her in handcuffs because someone called on her and her boyfriend because they were making out in the car. And she refused to give her ID. And the guy she was, and her boyfriend is white. And it was just, I had my mouth open when I seen you're gonna play in this movie, but you took no consideration of the story. It was just a story, and you humiliate yourself. And then you're gonna defend, this Caucasian because you were, and refuse and tell him, well, we don't have to give our IDs, and you be with a white guy after you, partake in this movie, Django and Jane, that was just, real disturbing and, kind of touching to me. And then I seen a documentary where this guy was on the street, a black guy, and he had 3 pictures he put up. And he had a picture of Marcus Garvey, he had a picture of JC, and he had a picture of Malcolm X. And then, I think they were in New York. And as they were walking down the street, he was just doing, a little survey. So he was mainly stopping young black youth. And he said, out of these 3 pictures, who means more to you, in your life? Who has the most influence to you? All of them picked JC. All they were like 17, 18, and 19. Everybody walking by picked JC. And then he pointed to he said, well, who you say this was? And it was Marcus Garvey. They didn't even know who the other 2 was. They recognized Malcolm X. But they said JC was the most influential person in their lives. And it was sad. That was sad to me.
Yes, it is. That you know more.
All 3 of them was not a choice.
Right.
That
That you know more if something doesn't happen real quick. Where people, a nation is headed towards. And I bet you $1 to a donor, they didn't know actually in a relationship with JC.
They did.
They just picked it because
And they studied the pictures too.
Yeah, it's just like if you take normal, what we call it, what they really abnormal, when you go into the Wheat Terrace or any of the highly populated black communities, and you take out the little black girl, and you pick out 15 or 20 black dogs and 1 white dog, they're gonna be all over that 1 white dog. They don't want black dog. Because black, they have been taught to hate themselves. Black is ugly. We don't want that old black thing. We want that little white thing. But it's a sad thing about our people. Any other current events? Sister Don?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
According to recently presented research, almost 15% of a baby spinach leaf's surface does not get exposed to high enough concentrations of the commercial disinfecting solution used to wash it. This is referring to the spinach that is pre-bagged, that's supposedly been washed. This unevenness is due to the numerous bumps, curves, and depressions on the leaf itself. In fact, the team found that as much as 90% of the bacteria that was already present survived after being rinsed with a similarly weak bleach rinse. And because some bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella remain, they can continue to multiply and spread. So, over the past 10 years, leafy greens have caused 18 known outbreaks of food poisoning in the U.S. While further protections are being developed, the research team suggests rinsing the leaves before consuming them. And that's supposedly the spinach that's been pre-washed and bagged.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, how many more times do we have to say, put your trust in this man and how he prepares your food, and you think just because it's been bagged, it's already been washed, if just because it's in a can, it's already been washed. Take another guess. This stuff is still filthy. Still filthy. This is mass production. They're not going to take the time out to be thoughtful of your safety.
Right.
They're going to do the minimum that's required. And that's it. And don't forget, they're working around in conditions that's already unsanitary. Already unsanitary. Wherever they lay their goods and products at, unliving bacteria. Wherever they place them at the end of the line is full of bacteria. There's no guarantee that they're even gathering this stuff together. The workers on the line that are wearing gloves. There's no guarantee when they go to the restroom to wipe their behind that they even washing their hands when they come out and grabbing up your grains with their hands and putting them in the bag or whatever process that they're using. That's why you always want, hey, treat it just like it's never been touched before. Yes, Elder.
First and foremost, I'd like to give our praise to the Almighty by saying hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
My current event is, first of all, I want to wish a happy Earth Day to my son Yoel. He was my fifth child. And then also my daughter. He was born on August 19th, and my oldest daughter was born on August 18th. I'd like to wish her a happy birthday. And also Wisdom, one of the members in our class, and also another member of our class, Shakari, and her birthday. And also I'd like to wish all the internet people's birthday. And I thank the Almighty for having all the ones in our class that they're here and all in our internet audience. So with that, I'll say hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Any other comments or current events? Yes, sir. Elder Russell, then Elder Cagle.
I've been watching a lot of the NFL preseason games, and I had company, and I said, there's a lot of racism in the NFL. And people, how is it racism? Everybody's rich in the NFL. I said, there's still racism in the NFL. I said, take Michael Vick. Before he even went to court, he was kicked out of the NFL. He did 2 years in jail. All his endorsements was held. I said, now look at Ben Roethlisberger. I said, he was accused of rape twice. He got suspended for 4 games. I said, so tell me that there still is racism in the NFL.
That's right.
And my wife hates Ben Roethlisberger with a passion. And most women do. But it's just weird, this is a human being that he was supposed to rape. Evidently, they paid her off, and it was cut out. Vic got dogs fighting. He did 2 years.
But see, they don't want anything to tarnish Roethlisberger's record. They got to get conviction for rape on his record. Because life after football, what he's going to have. Black man, hey, they don't even consider it. You're not even supposed to be in here anyway. You just a commodity that we have. You just another, you equivalent to a racehorse, a thoroughbred. And we're going to use you as much as we possibly can. And when the time is over, we're going to put you out to pasture, even if we have to shoot you. Quote, that's how valuable you are to him. So, with a black man, hey, kick him out, take his ability to earn a living away from it. Before he even tried to found guilty. And you tarnish his name. So he has never been good. We don't need a black quarterback in the league like you. That can make a difference between upsetting one of our white quarterbacks and winning the Super Bowl versus, we just don't need that. We don't need that. You're just an animal. You're still gentle. We're gonna treat you like that. But you get one of them, like Alicia was saying, like Noel was saying earlier today, one of Bigfoot's offspring or something. And hey, we're gonna take care of you. We know that you can't do too much else. We're gonna make sure that you all right. We're gonna take care of you for life. So go out there, if you pick them up and break them, and don't have any witnesses to it that's gonna come forward and so forth. Hey, everything's gonna be all right. You just gonna pay us a little fine if we find you. But so if you're still black and you think that everything is equal, man, what planet have you been living on? I don't care if you're an athlete or who you are. Brother Caleb? Elder Caleb?
Okay. We got a couple of stories here. One that came off of TomoNews.net about the juror that served on the Michael Brown. It states that juvenile number 40, and her name is Sandra McElroy. She has mental issues. She was a racist, and she also was a felon. And she lied about being in Ferguson on the day of the event that the officer Darren Wilson shot Michael Brown. She didn't see nothing, but she testified that she did it.
But she was on the jury, or was she testified in court?
She testified in court.
In court?
Yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, hey, you know, those type of things happen quite frequently. But what was the most grievous thing was that the prosecutors lied to the jury. And see, our black U.S. attorney at the time, right? The Justice Department didn't do anything about it. Nothing. If I know me here in Cincinnati, Ohio, found out that they had tampered with the jury by telling lies and by misleading the jury that it's okay to shoot a felon, but he's running away from it and so forth, and then go back and try to clean it up, I know damn well that somebody in Eric Holder's position and all of his staff members up under him knew that. That was a grounds enough to throw out the case right there. So it doesn't surprise me about a jury, somebody who testified as a witness in court, what they get up to say, you know, mentally ill or not. But we're supposed to hold the government at a higher standard, and the government employees at a higher standard. So, you know, what about them? You know, who's putting the government's feet to fire? Nobody, because they're scared that somebody be knocking on their door. They don't want to insult the first black president. So, you know, I mean, there's no justice for the black man, period. That's why I can't understand why Muslims and Christians and Hindus and everything else keep serving these idols that they're serving, because they're not getting any justice.
And also,
And if we weren't serving the Most High, there's no telling what situation we would be in right now.
Yes, sir.
So always think about that. Yes, sir.
and also, she was in a serious car accident that affected her memory. So, you know, she says she got memory issues.
But see, and that's that's coming out over a year, or almost 2 years after the incident.
Yep.
But the thing is, it was readily known about the misleading of the grand jury when it took place. So, you know, I'm not going to blame the white man on everything, because it's a black man that was in charge. He's the one that's supposed to be on speed of everything, knowing how racist Ferguson was to begin with.
And then the latest one.
But if it was you, hey, you're going to be in jail so quick, in a federal penitentiary so quick. If you had that type of power and authority, you've been locked up a long time ago. So, you know, I mean, we have to blame our own people on some things too, and that's one of the most grievous things that transpired. Might as well just have, you know, I can't even remember some of these older attorney generals, but you might as well get, who was the Southern Democrat, George Wallace, leading the Justice Department. Was good as that, and believe me, the Attorney General's office, the government, when you look at how many police officers they have prosecuted and gave jail time to, you can count them basically on 2 hands. Basically. And we're talking about over the years, over 20, 30, 40 year period. because they're not the friend of the black man, they're not the friend of the common man when it comes to versus police relations. Anyway, because I found out through doing research that when there's a question of law that comes up in the Supreme Court, the Justice Department, and it involves police, Justice Department representatives may even intervene and tell them how safe it is that they need to do this, that this procedure has to be allowed by the courts in order to fight crime, regardless of whether it's a violation of civil rights or not. So don't expect this system, this running the show, to be any different. Because when you set a precedent with federal officers, it all is passed down as well to the local officers. And the federal office, the Justice Department will intervene on their behalf in order to keep their quote officers safe. Okay, one more.
Okay, and, on August, when, Hillary Clinton was, in, New Hampshire, she was confronted by the so-called Black Lives Matter group. And so she told them that, you're going to have to come together as a movement and say, here's what we want done about it. According to a video of the account read that I would love to have your thoughts about, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, if these members of the group, which comprises mostly of Christians, if they would turn back to God, then they get the answers. But they're coming up with these 10-point answers. One of them is community involvement, another one is
Well, you know, we don't even want to discuss their foolishness that they're talking about, because it's nothing but foolishness. I see anybody that will vote for Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton again has to be stoned right crazy. Bill Clinton enacted laws that still affected black folks, put black folks further into poverty than they've ever been before. Sent more black men to prison for lesser crimes than white boys commit the same crime than ever before. There's people, black men, that are still in prison today because of Bill Clinton's because of his so-called war on drugs, people's his war on poverty and fraud in the welfare department. I mean, there's people right there that are still suffering because of that. He's been out of office how long? Almost 20 years. But you see, our little black sisters, our old black sisters, will be running to their black husband, black boyfriend, want to vote, want to put her in the office. We're going to have the first white woman, well, they won't say white woman, well, they will say, we're going to have the first woman. Oh, this white woman, she's not there for you. She's there for her constituents. You know, everybody came down on Bush because there was a leak in one of the recordings that was recorded during a private dinner that he had with people that could pay $200,000 a plate. That when he said, "Hey, you're my constituents. You're the ones that I'm concerned about." And that's all the politicians. Black think that he can make it and as a politician do something for his people. It's still daydreaming. Just daydreaming. But believe me, you know, if she makes the Democratic form of things, she might be the first woman in the White House. And she became less about you, your son, your daughter. And you press her enough, and she'll tell you, get away from me with that crap. Because according to some of her Secret Service agents that's been retired, so she was very, very nasty and arrogant when she was in the White House. Treat them like they were butlers. Nigga, go get that. Don't walk too close behind me. I mean, that's the way she treated them, like they was their end, like they was her end. There's the one thing white folks will tell them. Black folks will take you to their grave. White folks will tell them. They will tell you.
I might be the only one who feel this way, but we got to really start to consider and see what I'm getting ready to say. It's our fault. See, whether it be racism in the NFL, black brothers and sisters that fall by the way of the police or whatever, we have to remember, the Almighty Yah's ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. And we were sent here for a party, right? No, we were sent here for punishment. And so we look to have equal rights and all these things. We weren't sent here for equal rights. But see, the sad part is, most of our people don't even have a clue why we're here. They don't even know who they are. So when we don't keep the Almighty's commandments, and I started out to say we don't keep the Sabbath day, but it's even more than that. When we as the people don't keep that Sabbath day or we don't keep His commandments, what do we expect? If you go down to the courthouse and you're accused of a crime, and you say, well, I didn't know. They'll tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse. So why should it be an excuse with our Creator? You see, so it's our fault. Because our parents and their parents' parents, well, for whatever reason, wasn't equipped to teach us and make us know the ways of the Almighty. He didn't know who we were, let alone know who He is. We all can go out and mention the name of the Almighty right now. They say, who is that? Y'all is some kind of cult. Not realizing that other people, whether they go to church or not, or to the mosque or not, their one is actually in a cult. So we just have to really understand the things that go on around us. Understand that's just the Almighty showing us mercy. Not because of our righteousness, but He's showing us mercy. Because hopefully we're trying to do what we need to do to please the Creator. Like you can say, and I can say, there was a time when I was violating the Sabbath day because I was doing competition. But it took something drastic for me to happen before and the first thing I did is, what am I doing wrong? And I immediately knew. I knew. We all know we're messing up. I knew I was violating the Sabbath day, but I made an excuse. Well, when I'm not doing it, show I'm at the sanctuary. That's not good enough. So I have to decide I'm not doing that anymore. Right? So we have to really blame ourselves. And like I say, the Almighty's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And we have to, those in the know, we have to realize why we're here. We're here for punishment. And it's supposed to be not a good punishment. It's a bad punishment. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And with that in mind, that is why it's so important to stay steadfast with the Most High. And in order to stay steadfast with the Most High, you must admit and acknowledge some things. Some of the things is that you don't know everything. Some of the things that you must acknowledge is that you have faults. And in order to acknowledge, that you have faults, You have to understand where these thoughts come from before you can correct them. Because if not, you're going to be in total denial all the time that you have any thoughts. And it's something that everyone has, maybe not on the same level. When you start getting real technical as far as IQ and all of that type of stuff, but everybody has a mind to understand. And that's what we're going to deal with today, is your mindset. See, everything that's been talked about today involves your mindset. Because you can do what you want to do with your mind. Your stubbornness, your stiff-heartedness, your rebelliousness, all that is a result of your mind. When it talks about the heart, that's what it's talking about, is your mind. Now I once got into a little this thing with somebody about the heart is different from the mind and all of that, but and it doesn't matter whether I get back into it now or not. But the heart in the ancient Hebrew means your mind. And not only your mind, but it's the seat of all emotions. That means when you hate to come to class on the Sabbath day, that's originating out of your mind, out of your thought process. When you say the devil told me to do it, it's not the devil, it's your wicked mind. See, anytime you choose to go against the law, and you always have a choice. Always have a choice. No one can make you do anything that you don't want to do. It's that you choose to do it because that's a state of mind you're in. That's how weak your mind is at. Let's look at Genesis chapter 6. We're going to see some things that the Most High said, which we just, like so many times we just gloss over before we read it. And we won't come back to it unless we absolutely have to. But what does it say in Genesis chapter 6? We'll start in verse 1. It says, "And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. And they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man, I want you to key in on this. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart, which should be written mind, was only evil continually. Evil continually. And he repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart, or in his mind. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. We're going to stop right there. Why did he repent that he made man? Because he made man with free will. And man chose to do wicked. They chose to do evil. It wasn't something that they couldn't do or that they had to do. They chose to do it. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yah. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before Elohim, and the earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. How did they corrupt their way? By engaging in the same thoughts and actions that they're doing today. Homosexuality. We want to lock men up if they don't want to marry these sets of abominations that come in here. You're going to have to accept them, not bar them from your own business if you're licensed by the state or the city. You're going to have to accept them. You're going to have to patronize them. I don't care what your religion says, what your spirituality is. And passing a law of the land to that effect. And each one of those Supreme Court justices that sat on the bench and passed this through, did they have a choice? What they did? When the bill was brought to them, they had to pass it. They didn't have a choice. They couldn't rule one way or the other. They just had to rule in favor of it. They couldn't deny it at all, could they? But they did. They made a choice. And we make a choice. We make a choice every time that we violate the law. Sometimes it becomes just a natural thing. We don't even think about it. We don't even think about it. We don't even give second thought to it. That's how natural it has become. Like these Christians we talk to every week. Hey, it's a natural thing for them. They turn us on there just for entertainment. It's a natural thing for them. Yeah, I've been with JC ever since grandmama was young. Now she's about 90 years old. She told me everything I know about JC. Let me sit down and listen to see what these fools are saying. But she has a choice. He has a choice. I've been doing this for 30 years. Think I'm going to choose this? Ain't nothing else on TV over there, boy. What you looking at? What you listening at? Well, let me sit down and listen to this, fools. Just totally spitting at the Almighty's word, left and right. Every word that comes out. See, if you're else teaching on Christianity, breaking it down and so forth, you better believe it. Somebody out there on the internet sit down. You see what he said right there? That's a lie. That's a lie. Ain't nothing like that. Ain't nothing like they just don't understand, baby. They just don't understand. And tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock should be up. Hey, get your butts up. Get up. Tell the little grandkids, get up. Got Sunday school this morning. And think about it, they'll be in church at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we be trying to get up at 11 and 12 o'clock on the Sabbath day to serve the true and living Creator. And they be up, hey, get up. Get up, man. I ain't gonna be late. I'm not gonna be late. Our sister, what's your name, be looking at us and talk about us coming here, right? That ain't gonna happen. But we have a choice. It's our mindset. And we see that our mindset, hey, before he destroyed those folks, their thoughts was continually wicked. Continually wicked. You see, that's one of the things that we as a nation of people, and some of us who are being awakened to the Most High, His goodness, we don't even consider it as much as we should. That's our thoughts. all the time as it relates to keeping the Most High's law, as it relates to serving Him. And what is the imaginations of your heart or your mind? It's unlimited. Unlimited. You be sitting right up in Bible class, and whoever the teacher is or the minister is could be teaching on whatever subject he's teaching on, and somebody be sitting out there thinking about, who's at the play, they got this fight on tonight. Oh, Pacquiao and they're gonna show a rerun of that, man. I didn't get a chance to see that. That's what's going on in his mind. I'm not gonna listen tonight. I'm going to get out of here. We're not going to stay to 9 o'clock tonight like they be trying to keep people. But get out of here at 6 o'clock this afternoon. Get home. Yeah, I know Sabbath's not over, but where is it saying Sabbath I have to stay in Bible class to 9 o'clock at night? All types of imagination. I'm getting, instead of concentrating on the lesson, sitting up there, just mind just going this way and that way. Think about your own pleasures, own wickedness is all it is. There's some more in your ear.
As Solomon made the statement, the thought of foolishness
It's a sin.
It's sin.
That's right.
And it's deep when you get into it and reading about Psalms of David where he said, let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, because he knew that Yah judges us on what we think, how we think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we forget about. You don't think Yah, because we don't keep Yah in our mind. We only think about him on the Shabbat day or when we need him or when we know that he has blessed us, saved us out of some type of turmoil or something. Then we think about it. But it's in our minds all the time. You see, at the forefront, when we get ready to make a decision on something, do we think about Yah first? Do we ask him for guidance? But you are absolutely right. In meditation, see, meditation, let me give you a definition of meditation. First, the ancient Hebrew name for the heart is Lev, L-E-V, which means the mind, the seat of all emotions, thought. The thoughts of the heart or mind is one of the most, if not the most important thing, and I just wrote that one must consider in his or her relationship with the Most High. For meditation is a part of your thoughts. That just means to think intensely, to contemplate. So if you're doing meditation, if you're just sitting here just thinking as I'm speaking right now, all of it is involving your mind. All of it is involved in your mind. Thing is, do we have to correct our mind? Well, if it's easy to put you your step, do you have to correct your heart? Do you have to examine yourself and see if your heart, if your mind is up to par? Is it even worthy to even mention the Almighty's name? Because all of our weaknesses, all of our sins comes from the mind. Comes up out of that heart, the center of your being. And that is one of the most powerful things that you have in the world, or exceeds any type of muscular strength or anything that you could be blessed with. Because if your mind can conceive it, you can do it. And that's how you test where a man's true strength is at. Put him on the attack of his mind, of his heart. Let's look at 1 Chronicles chapter 28. And Murray Michael, you got your strong over there. Look in there, see how many times. And the thing about it, in the King James Version, you're going to see the heart used at least 100 and some times. But what it's talking about is your mind. Look up the word heart and see how many times that's used in the scripture. Because sometimes you go through there and you say, well, I see very little talking about thoughts. But you're not going to see it talking about thoughts.
Over 830 times.
Over how many times?
830 times.
Over 830 times. It's talked about your heart or your mind. Pure heart. Perfect heart. I mean, it goes on and on and on. What they're talking about is your perfect mind state with the Almighty. Is your heart complete? That's what perfect means, being complete. But what it's actually saying is your mind complete. Is it perfect with the Almighty? Is it safe with the Almighty? Can He depend on you to do the right thing all the time, not just sometimes, not just on the Day of Atonement, not just when you want something, but all the time? Can He say, like He said about Job, perfect in his generation, perfect, a man who eschewed evil. And when we first read about Job, what do you see him doing? Praying to the Most High. You see him say, well, I hope my sons and daughters are doing this. Hey, he's praying on their behalf. Because it might be that they have blasphemed the Most High in their heart or in their mind. But what I say, 1 Chronicles chapter 20. Let's look at verse 9. It says, and thou Solomon, my son, know thou the Elohim of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind. And when you do the research on that, you put those two together, it's saying the same thing. It's just saying with a safe and complete mind. And who was giving him that instruction? His father David. Who the Almighty said, hey, his heart was perfect towards him. And why was it perfect? Because he did everything that God commanded him to do, except in the one instance involving Uriah. And thou Solomon, my son, know that the Elohim of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind, for the Yahweh search all hearts and understanding all imaginations of the thoughts. If thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. So what is important in that verse? What is it that we should take heed to in this advice that he gave his son Solomon? And we know that, hey, through the Solomon's history, that he failed. But what caused him to fail? I can't read you.
His wife.
Huh?
His wife.
But what was it that he didn't do?
He didn't seek God.
He did what?
He didn't seek him.
He didn't seek him. Well, he saw it. In fact, he has
He
God to
forsaken
him before.
him after,
Yeah, but what was it that he didn't do that was more important than that? Because he didn't even have to ask for wisdom or the ability to judge his people. It was something even more important than that.
He didn't keep his commandments.
He didn't keep his commandments. His heart was turned from God. And you can't have a perfect heart if your heart is turned away from the Most High, regardless of what the reason is. See, no man, no woman should be able to turn you or your heart away from the Most High. None. But when that happens, then your heart is no longer perfect towards the Most High. We're going to be moving now, but right now in 1 Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 9. And the subject that we're discussing is keeping your mind or your heart with God. Every wickedness, every transgression against the law that comes upon you that you make, there's a decision to do it or not to do it. And that all starts in the mind. All starts in your heart. So we can try to push it off on somebody who made me do it. I was influenced to this. No. You are responsible for your own thoughts. You are responsible for your own actions. No one can make you want to do anything unless you're willing to do it. And we see that King David advised his son Solomon, and he says, "And thou Solomon, my son, know thou the Elohim of thy father, and serve him with a perfect heart and a willing mind. For Yahweh searches all hearts." And this is one of the things that we should understand. Regardless of how great or how small we are, the Most High is always searching our hearts, especially when you come to supposed to know Him. Because to those that much has been given, regardless of your economic status, when the Almighty opened your eyes as to who He was, or who He is, and your relationship to Him and His relationship to you, much has been given. Much has been given, and much is required. And we can't think just because no one else can hear what we're thinking. No one else can hear what we're contemplating on as we sit in these seats right now. Yahweh can. And David passed this wisdom on to his son. But we see that Solomon didn't pay attention because he let all of these strange men take him away from the Most High. Let's look at Psalms number 10. Let's look at verse number 4. It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance, and I seek after Elohim. Elohim is not in all his thoughts. Still going back to an individual's mind, individuals, what most of the scriptures say heart. But when you talk about heart in the ancient Hebrew, comes from the word loyal, which means mind. Again, can't report that in none, which is the seat of all your emotions, thoughts. It's the center. Every decision that you make is based upon what comes out of this little part of your brain right here that we call the mind. What is to take a job? What is to build a house? What is to buy a house? Every decision, just coming on Shabbat day, that's a decision that originates out of here. And not to do it, same thing, originates right out of here. So, no, I couldn't come this Saturday. My heart was telling me not to. Your mind, which we call the heart, was telling me not to. Your wicked heart, your wicked mind. So whichever term you love to describe it in, it's still wicked when it goes against the Most High's law. It's still wicked. But in verse number 4, Psalms 10 again, it says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Elohim. So what is stopping him from seeking after the Most High? His pride. So do you just seek Yahweh on the Shabbat day? You just seek him when you want him to intervene in a matter that's crucial to you? Like one example, two brothers, two sisters, whatever the case may be. Gender doesn't matter, but you got two individuals. Both of them got notification and hey, when they're hiring here at ABC Company, starting salary is $100,000 a year. We see that you're qualified. Get background check up on you. That's okay. But right now, you say that you get your spirituality or your religion prohibits you from working on the Sabbath day. Or will be in the future moving towards making it mandatory that everyone has to work on the Sabbath day. If you're interested, give me a call. So what kind of decisions you think people make? Some people make, hey, they didn't say right now, they said in the future. They say that their future might be a week after you get hired, no did. You're already on a job making $50,000 a year. That's not raising in hell, but it's not going to the poorhouse either. And man is always looking to lift himself. So what do you think some brothers or sisters might do? Think some will be tempted to take their job, even though they know that in the future, hey, they're going to have to work on a Shabbat day or either leave the company. But what's going to make that decision for them? their mind, their heart. See, there's nothing, when Jesus say there's nothing that you don't do on a daily basis that doesn't involve keeping or breaking the Almighty's law. But they added to it. There's nothing that you don't do that doesn't involve, at least it should be, you thinking about the Most High's law. Because if you're keeping the Most High at the forefront of your mind or the forefront of your heart, you're going to be doing it anyway. Yes, so,
I'm gonna ask something that might be kind of strange to people when you hear this question. Maybe something that you can't even answer. But I often have dreams where I feel like Most High He's trying me to see what I'm gonna do. And I had dreams where I'm in a situation to do evil or do good. And most of the time I can say, praise God, I come out on top. I make the right decision. So, for dreams, because when we read the scriptures, He comes to me in the dreams. Can you violate the law in your dream? You sin against the mighty Yah.
yeah. Yeah. And you know the reason why I say yes? Because your dreams is made up of the contents of your heart or your mind through either experience or desires. So a lot of the fairy tales, for lack of a better word, magicians or whatever, could read person's dreams based upon what they desire. They could tell you about what type of dream you have. And some people might not believe that, but they can. Interpret your dreams based upon your desires. Because there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. You take a person that's materialistic, and a lot of their dreams will be about materialistic things because of their desire. Cars, jobs, status quo, being uplifted into a higher status, or things that they can do, moving from one economic position to another. And we can always get that fish thrown in too. And warnings can also come to the dream. The mind or your heart is, like I said, is the most powerful thing that you have. It's the most powerful thing that you have. That's why the white man feared it. Because more knowledge, more his knowledge that you gain, the more fear that comes up in him. But see, it's the wisdom and the knowledge of the Most High that you want to attain. Everything else is minor. When they see that you've been educated by the Most High, they really feel that they don't even want to be bothered with you. And just look at this again. It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Elohim. Elohim is not in all his thoughts. So let's look at that. Let's look at that one more time. To see where we fall into that. If we see ourselves, if we find ourselves concentrating and thinking about more things than the Most High during the week, then we know that we're just like the wicked. In fact, that is wickedness. He's talking to us right there. And forget what somebody said that you are, what they say, you are what's the name that they put on people that are not zealots, but what you are, what a person who, you're fanatic. You're fanatic. This Hebrew Israelite thing, you're fanatic when it comes to the Bible. You're this and that and so forth. Well, hey, better be fanatic for God than it is to be a fanatic for foolishness.
Yeah.
Because foolishness is just the thoughts of foolishness is sin. Yes, sir.
In that scripture that covers all areas of life, from dealing in politics, to marriage, to going in business with somebody else of a different belief system. I mean, it involves everything. It's not that we do that y'all should not be included in.
That's right.
And I'm just sitting here remembering the story of one of the Israelite kings, and he wanted to go to war to help his brother, but the prophet like, no, don't help him.
That's right.
Don't help him. So even when doing stuff with your own people, you gotta first see what y'all have to say about it.
Right.
So it covers all.
Yeah. And talk about King Amaziah when he was gonna go. No, it was it Amaziah that was gonna help out Israel? I think we have that written down as one of the things, because as we discussed it some time ago, there comes a time when you have to separate from your brother. Because if the Almighty is against your brother, then hey, you're going out there trying to help him. It's going to cause your downfall. I think there was Amaziah warned against Israel or Yehuda, one of the two. We'll see in a minute. But the wicked through the pride of his confidence will not seek after Elohim. And Elohim is not in all his thoughts. And think about it, they say part of some of his thoughts. Said not in all. So see, we got a lot to measure ourselves by. A lot to measure ourselves by. Because when it comes time to, when you realize it now that your transgressions originate right here, it makes all the difference in the world. Let's go down to verse number 6. Say, he has said in his heart or in his mind, I shall not be moved. why it should never be in adversity. So who is saying this in their mind or in their heart? The wicked man, the wicked woman, or one who is just serving God? God is always at the forefront. This wicked man or this wicked woman. Now, to be honest, and we have been in that position, in that spot, and we have been the wicked who didn't consider God. We just went and did whatever we chose to do. And we went to do it because we gathered so much pleasure from it, or because we thought it was right thing for us to do. Have we ever did attempt to do something and failed at it? I wonder why. But I'm qualified to do it. I've got all the tools, all the knowledge, all the wisdom to do it. Why am I failing? Do you ever consider that the work is not in y'all's plan? So we need to look back upon our little Elohim selves and say, I know what was wrong. I didn't put out enough advertising. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to make it succeed. Now, once did we ever seek the Almighty and ask Him, what is it? What is it that you want me to do, God? Why is it that I can't make this succeed? Stays in the same chapter. Let's drop down to verse number 11. He has said in his heart, Elohim had forgotten. He hid his face. He would never see it. And we still talk about the wicked. And too many times we get caught up in our wickedness because we've been successful at it, so we think, so we believe. They think that God's not even watching anymore. That it's passed us by. That He's not going to judge us on it. He's not going to hold us accountable for it. I know I was getting held before, and now I succeeded. So everything is okay. If I ask a question, has anybody ever been in a position where those that have raise up their hand, or would you be too shy? Well, I'm going to ask you anyway. Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever been in that position? You just thought that God just forgot all about it. God doesn't forget anything. Nothing. Nothing. There's some of us in here that have been successful in doing wickedness, and we think because we didn't get punished right then that everything was okay. That y'all didn't see it, but He just didn't care. But then maybe I really didn't do that bad. Let's look at Psalms 94. Let's look at verse 11. What does it say? Y'all already know if this thoughts of man. That's what I want you to stop at right there. Because there's another verse that says Yahweh knows our thoughts. He knows whether they're thoughts of righteousness or whether they're thoughts of vanity. He knows. He knows them. Not just one of them, but all of them. That's one thing Maury Dad used to say all the time, and probably still says, you don't know which sin, which transgression that the Almighty is going might hold you accountable for. But it's one thing that you should know, if you don't know right now, is that He is going to hold us accountable. All of these things come right here. It's not far away. You have to search for it and so forth. It's right there in your head. Right there in your brain, regardless of what is that big or what is this big. It's right there. And you make the decision. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 24. Verse number 8. I'm sorry. Let's look at verse number 1 to verse number 2. It says, be thou not envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. But where does that desire come from? Right there. From your mind or from your heart. We're using those words interchangeably because they mean the same. But their heart stirreth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. And you get evil men. You just sit around and you just plot. Other people demise. Destructions of whole nations. Whole civilizations. This is what they do. If you've been involved in Planned Parenthood, that's what it comes out of. Destroy minorities, blacks in particular. But what's the black candidate for president on the Republican side? He even admitted it. Talk about Margaret Sanger's institutes that you find, the abortion clinics that you find in primarily black neighborhoods. Here in Cincinnati, be Mount Auburn. And some of the other outlying clinics, maybe in over the Rhine or someplace, but particularly Mount Auburn, whose sole purpose is to allow as few black babies to be born as possible. These are evil men. Evil men. And their heart is studied. Their mind is studied destruction. Have to abort the fetus when a woman is carrying the baby. And other means of destroying a baby. even when they take it out during the, what's the last stage that they're supposed to have, the trimester, trimester?
The second trimester is supposed to be the latest they can
The latest stage, but they've invented ways that they can do that now. They study. All of these nuclear weapons and so forth, bombs and heat rays and shields and all of that stuff developed by evil men who study destruction. They conceive it here, and then they put it in paper, manufacture it, produce it. Verse number 9. In Proverbs 24. It says what? The thought of foolishness is sin. The book won't be just a thought. It won't be a foolish thought. Yes, sir, man.
Well, I'm gonna leave Shabbat class right now and go home and fry some bacon.
Pretty much.
Think about that, we smile, we're laughing at it, but it's not a joke. That's right. I didn't eat anything last night. I got up, they brushed me out of the house. And then if I could have got up early, I would have cooked them while they were asleep. But I'm going to leave early right now. Go home. Hey. Again, nobody said, there's no place in the scripture where you say I have to stay at Bible class till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Y'all knows my heart. He knows I'm hungry. But I can't function well being hungry. They go on, they do what they do. Same thing with those who want to still fight. The foolishness, the thought of it is sin. The thought of it. Let's move on to, back to Proverbs 15. Does anyone else have an example of foolishness, the thought of foolishness? Yes, sir. Mike.
Praise Yahweh. Man. Boy, I'd be glad when whoever's teaching sits down and that clock is on the wall. Man, he said that was going to be the last comment. Man, Brother Mike Hill, man. Boy, that big can't be on that. Oh, man, can wait to hit that 6.
They took the clock down today.
Yeah, we got cell phones and watch stuff. Sneaking to look right. Hallelujah. That's what we do. I mean, that's big.
And see, we don't even realize. Don't even realize how foolish and how simple we can be. Yes, Sister Don.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Sitting in the Sabbath day in July is very different from sitting in Sabbath class in December. Just being mad in the middle of July or all through the summer months. Like, I'll be glad when it's winter because the Sabbath day is shorter and I can leave Bible class and I can still get to the mall.
In the summertime, like saying in the wintertime, rather, 4 o'clock, reach around there. Look at it, hey, we only got an hour and a half to go. Store stay open 9 o'clock.
They have all the sales.
So what may seem innocent to us may be a simple thing. Because your mind is supposed to be stayed up on Yah. Your mind is supposed to be stayed up on Him. You know?
Yeah, and the Shabbat day is such a delight, and I think we forget. The scripture said, from the rising of the sun to the going down of that same sun, Yah's name is to be praised.
Right? That's right.
It don't stop because I don't care if a Knesset let out at 4 o'clock in the summer, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That's not a green light to do what you want to do.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't understand it. We think, well, class is adjourned at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. The Shabbat is over with. No, the Shabbat is not over with. Class started, wherever started 11 or 12 o'clock. That don't mean that the Shabbat started 11 or 12 o'clock.
That's right.
The Shabbat is started before you even get here.
That's right.
So even the thought of doing something, oh, the class don't start until 12, so I can do what I want to do.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And these type of thoughts go through our people's minds. So we don't have to look too far to find errors, do we? Seems how far we've got to come. We've come a long ways, but we still got just a longer journey to go. Let's jump over to verse 26 in the same Proverbs 15. It says, the thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to Yah, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination unto Yah. We know what the definition of abomination is. For something that's abominable, something detestable. So, out of your wisdom that we have here in the congregation, what type of thoughts would be an abomination unto Yah? Because all of that we've read so far just doesn't pertain to Shabbat day. It pertains to being Israel, period. See, because you still have that mind and that heart whether you're here or not. It goes with it throughout your daily life. In all the walks of your life. Whether you're at work, whether you're at play, or recreation, whatever you're doing. That heart or that mind follows you. So what would be some abominations that one might have in their heart? Or what must be some detestable thing to the Most High? Yes, sir, Maury Mike.
To have a meditation where there's got to be something more to serve Yahweh in this seconds. To even have that thought process, there's got to be something more. I heard when Minister Yoel or Elder Ezekiel was talking about now walking with Yahweh is the only thing we need, but there's got to be something else. There's got to be something else there. There's got to be either we got to come together and form a black group, Black Lives Matter group. We either got to march more. Maybe we should get with Al Sharpton, because I don't know what they talking about, because the Israelites ain't in the streets in Cincinnati. You know, Al Sharpton and the AUBK and the NWA and all them, they out there preaching the word of the Most High and getting the people together. So it's got to be more than just serving Yahweh. And that's an abomination to think that anything more than serving Yahweh is going to get us out of our situation.
So true. that's the nature, seems to be the nature of our people, because we seem to look for man to deliver us more than the Most High. Even Israel. What did I say earlier when we started class again? Whose class this is? Huh? Why did I say that? Why did I ask that? Because I don't want us to ever forget that this is Yah's class. See, it's not my class, YisraEL's class, Michael's class, or any one of the elders' class. This is Yah's class. Because too many times that I have seen during my short life, and I'm probably the oldest one in here right now, but I've seen men gravitate to men to the point where they forget about the Most High. And when you think about a man, when you think about the Most High, you indeed, you know what I'm going to say, if it wasn't for the kids in here. Because we do honor man more than we honor the Most High. We're able to stand before you, whether you're on the internet or whether you're right here in the Knesset, and speak some words of wisdom that make you change. That's what that's the blessing of the Most High. See, that didn't come from because of our greatness. That comes from the Most High. And see, that's why the Christians, that's why the Muslims get trapped up in there so much, because they get the great orators. They can make a piece of bread with some butter, stand up and dance through their speeches. But the Most High blesses His servants with the ability to speak and to turn someone off of the path of wickedness onto the path of righteousness. That's blessing the Most High. I remember when I first started teaching, and I don't know whether you will remember or not, but we had a group in class that morning, and one of the, I don't know, I can't remember which one of the members now was giving praise to our mores or so forth. And I said, yeah, you know, I don't give praises to the mores, I give praises to the Most High. Because the Most High chose these mores, the Most High put the words in their mouth. See, we can't ever forget that whoever, wherever we at, the praises go to the Most High. Hallelujah. He didn't say he was a jealous Elohim for nothing. No, he would not give his what? Glory to another, or his praise to graven images. We have to keep that in mind. So when you look at that, but all of us comes right back to here with each and every one. Because some of us realize that, no. Some of us may die our life, and some of them may not. But when you look, when you read, every time we went off into captivity, what reason was it? We started serving graven images. idols of the nations around us. Start giving all their glory and all their praise to, hey, something they couldn't even say themselves. But it starts in your heart, that's what you've been used to hear. But in your mind, to make it more simple. Everything that you do, how you react to it, and so forth, all starts here. Let's look at 1 Kings. We're going directly to chapter 11. And we'll start off at the first verse. First Kings chapter 11, first verse. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, ye should not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart or your mind after their Elohim. Solomon clave unto these in love. Did he make a conscious decision or not? No one, they didn't, well, I don't know, maybe saying something that I didn't say. He didn't want to force it. He made his own conscious decision to do that, right? But he knew that he wasn't supposed to marry these foreign women or go into them. He made the decision to do so, right? Just like we know that we are not supposed to violate any particular law, whether it's the Shabbat day, the dietary law, law of uncleanness, or whatever the law is. And if we do it, then we choose to do it. Verse number 3, and he has 700 wives, princes, and 300 concubines, and his wives turn away what? His heart, his mind. And we see that today. We see that today. The brother can come to class, and then he gets hooked up with a sister. They might come with it for 2 or 3 times, and then the next thing you know, you don't see her, and then you don't see him. And vice versa. But in all of this is choices that we make. And Solomon was who? The wisest man on the face of the earth. He just wasn't the most obedient, but he was wise. The Almighty blessed him with wisdom that he had blessed him with. That's why it's better to be obedient than to be wise. It came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other deities, and his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as with the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after the deity of the Zidonians and the abomination of the Ammonites And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh as did David his father. So you see, his thoughts were not with God as David his father. Although David sinned, but there was no comparison. Because if you read according to what it says in the scripture here, that the Almighty only held David accountable on one accord. And that was for the instance with Uriah, the Hittite, and Bathsheba. Now, if we could say, if the Almighty, if we could say, hey, you know, I know how the wickedness that I've been done, that I have done before, that the Almighty, He said He's only holding me accountable for one. Man, we would be in good stead, wouldn't we? But you see the difference between David and Solomon. And Solomon was supposed to be more wiser than David. If the Almighty said he was, he was. Because we be quick to say, well, don't look like it to me. Don't look like it to me. But what did God say? His thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. But when we think, when that heart starts speaking, we better be circumspect that it's speaking the right language and speaking about doing the right thing. Not off our imagination, but checking our imagination, because our imagination could be wicked. And sometimes we don't know the difference between wickedness and righteousness. So we have to be circumspect in everything that we think, not just everything that we do, because actions proceed out of our thoughts. Sometimes action goes before our thoughts. Brother Michael.
Hallelujah. I looked at that too, with the David and Solomon comparison. And in striking contrast, David was a man after his own heart, meaning that David never chased after the other gods and the other deities. And I think you got certain, with Yah, because he does what he chooses, and he forgives what he forgives, and he damns what he damns. And it's like with David, I think that Yah had looked upon that as a set apart sin with the graven images. When you worship other deities, it's hard to get back to Yah. With other things that you do, the other inequities, as long as you still on the path of Yah, you can make atonement for those sins and kind of get back to him. But when somebody else in your ear, you follow another path, you lost the main component of what it is to serve Yah. So I think that with David, from what I studied from David, when the man after his own heart, David wasn't even going to battle unless he got Yah's approval. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't sleep at night, would prostrate himself until he was able to get his forgiveness. And it's basically a lesson to the world to know that Solomon was the wisest man on earth. He said his wisdom far exceeded any man, and no man will never be as wise as he will ever be. That's a quote he said about Solomon. He will never see this type of wisdom again. 3,000 proverbs and so on and so forth. And he was not only wise, he was rich as well. But like you said, this shows that even the wisest man, like my mom would say, you so smart, you stupid. Meaning that you can't outthink yourself. Right. So therefore, that was that lesson to teach that, yes, he was a wise man, and none of us can even compare it to the wisdom that Solomon had. That's right. And you can't even compare it to what he had as far as his riches and his women, because you hear guys talking about, I'm going to play this, and that man has 700 wives, and y'all knew about it. So like you ain't even compare to what he was going on. So that shows that, you know what I mean? It shows it shows that the Father blessed him in a lot of ways. But like you said, obedience is better than sacrifice. You have to be obedient. You have to serve Yah. You have to serve Him wholeheartedly, and you have to do it with a beautiful spirit. Because anything outside of that, He's going to see it. He's going to sense it. He's going to know you're not serving Him fully. So that was a lesson to the world to show that hey, yeah, he was wise, but David had his heart. His heart was set on Yah. And that, for like you said, that surpassed any wisdom that any man can have, because it's a quote in Job, matter of fact, 32, I believe, 32, 4 through 6, it said, and it said the wise, he said the aged are not always wise, and the wise don't always understand judgment. So therefore, it's letting you know that it's not always about wisdom, because the wise don't even understand judgment sometimes, and why they being judged. So, to keep it short, he just basically showed the world that you can be wise, but you have to have the heart of David if you want, because David is the model. He said he's the only shepherd. There will be no other shepherd. And the reason why the kings are blessed and have a lineage to him is due to David, because a lot of the kings after did wickedness. But David was his man, because David chased after his heart, and he was that guy, and he had that love for God that you're supposed to have for the Father.
Hallelujah. And that shows, just like you mentioned, that David going to war, he didn't do anything unless he saw Yah first. So when you talk about keeping God at the forefront of your mind or your heart, that's an example. With whatever you're doing, you want to go in business, seek out Yah first. You go to war, hey, it doesn't matter how many valiant men you have, or how valiant they are. Seek Yah first. Whatever the occasion may be, always seek Yah first. That's one of the things that we don't do. We go off in our own speed and expect different results. Now let's go to 2nd Chronicles. Okay, 2nd Chronicles, chapter 16. Second Chronicles, chapter 16, starting at the first verse. In the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, king of Israel, came up against Yehudah and built Ramah, to the intent that he might let none go out or come into Asa, king of Yehudah. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of Yahweh and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, that dwelt in Damascus, saying, There is a league between me and thee, as there was between my father and thy father. Behold, I have sent thee silver and gold, Go break thy league with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from thee. And Benhadad hearkened unto King Asa, and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel, and he smote Ajon and Dan, and Abelman men in all the store cities of Naphtali. And it came to pass, when Baasha heard it, that he left off building of Ramah, and let his work cease. Then Asa the king took all Yehudah, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and the timber thereof, where was Baasha was building, and he built therewith Geba and Mizpah. And at that time Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Yehudah, and said unto him, because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, and not relied on Yahweh thy Elohim, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. Were not the Ethiopians and the Lubians a huge host, with very many chariots and horsemen? Yet because thou didst rely on Yahweh, he delivered them into thy hand. For the eyes of Yah run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart or whose mind is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly. Therefore from henceforth thou shalt have more. Let's just stop there. What did the prophet or the seer Hananiah tell? Okay. Let's read this again. But the eyes of Yahweh run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose mind or heart is perfect toward him. So if your mind or your heart is not perfect towards the Most High, know that, hey, he's not in all your thoughts. He don't even give you consideration of the things that you do, man. How do you expect him to deliver you in your time of need? Why do you think that he's going to bless you in your time of need? And you're not even showing yourself strong with him. Your mind is not with it. If your mind is not with it, your body is not with it. Because you're not going to perform the commandments as he directed you to perform. And this is just an example. And of course, you can tell that Brother Asa was the Israelite because look what he did after hearing this message. Then Asa, 10th verse. Then Asa was wroth or angry with the seer and put him in a prison house. But he was in a rage with him because of this thing. Hey, he don't violate the Most High's confidence, but he get mad at the seer because the seer just brought him a message. Shoot him at. And that's where we are. We always want to blame somebody else for our own foolishness. And Asa oppressed some of the people at the same times. And behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Yehudah and Israel. And Asa, in the 30th and 9th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet, until his disease was exceedingly great. Yet in his disease he sought not Yahweh, but to the physicians. It comments on this. Yes, sir.
And this is deep. It is this took me back to the three Hebrew boys when he was in Babylon faced with the furnace situation. And they had the mind state and y'all knew it.
Right.
They had the heart and y'all knew their heart. And they said they wasn't even careful they didn't have to get together and talk about if they're gonna bow down to this deity. Say, well, it ain't even a consideration.
That's right.
And as a result, the Most High delivered them. But a lot of us, like I said, we don't have a true individual relationship with Yah. Some wives' relationship is based off their husband's relationship with Yah. Some husbands' relationship with Yah might be based off their wives. Some of us might be based off our friends that come to class.
That's right.
This walk, it has to be an individual walk. And you have to develop a relationship with Yah. Go through trials and tribulations. And have to be put in situations where He's going to try you and you come out. And then He's going to make you more stronger. But those that have never been in an adverse situation and just coming into this knowledge, you know, when things come on them and they don't go their way, so to speak, they lose confidence in Yah. And it's not Yah that let them down.
Right.
I think it's our own, it's where we at, Woody. And He knows you don't have confidence in it.
That's right.
He knows it. And a lot of us just don't have confidence in Yah. And it's stop and say, in the fear of Yah, it is strong confidence. Strong. Absolutely. But it's something that you got to develop. A lot of people give up on Yah, coming to the truth, did it for a couple of years, and they say, well, ever since I met Yah, things are going well for me now. I left off Christ. I'm serving this true and living Elohim. Now I lost my house, lost my job. I can't work on the Sabbath no more. And they take it, start looking at Yah as He's letting them down. But no, Yah's not letting you down. You letting Him down. In your way of thinking.
That's right.
Your thought process.
That's right. That's right. You're absolutely right. Because, you know, when you're serving Yah, you shouldn't be desiring anything outside of Him. You know, before you start serving Yah, you violate the Shabbat day and don't even know that you're violating the Shabbat day. You make it a double tab, or maybe you heard that you shouldn't be working on Shabbat, but that doesn't mean anything to you. You know, life is good, you're making this money now, so forth. But then, if you happen to visit Knesset or happen to get hooked up with a sister or brother that does keep the Almighty's law, and they're telling you this is what you got to do, this is what you should be doing, you go to the Shabbat now on the Saturday, and you get the courage enough to say, well, I'm not going to work on the Shabbat day anymore, then, hey, you lose your job. It's not because of the Most High. It's not because of the Most High at all. That employee just didn't need you anymore on that weekend. Or he's cutting back. Because, and see, that's something some of our people fail to realize also, that everything except for Yah is temporary. Everything is temporary. Yes. All your jobs is temporary. I don't care who you work for. It's temporary. You know, your benefit package, your retirement, all of that is temporary. It's just through the blessings of the Most High that you maintain it or being a part of the system up to now. Or reaping those benefits up to now. But see, the Most High prepares us for the times to come. Hey, you're not going to be working at 55, 75, 85,000 jobs, $1 a year, $100,000 a year job for your duration of your life. It's just like wealthiest people. If they lost everything in the stock markets, tomorrow, you know what will happen. You know what will happen. If they commit suicide, if be too many bodies jumping off a building, that I don't care, city in New York would have enough paramedics and ambulances to recover. That's right. Because They cannot take that stress. They cannot take that thought of being poor. But the mighty God's prepared us.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we only had $20,000 a year job. $25,000 a year job. Now we face 10 or 12 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
But we know how to survive.
Yes, sir.
See, the goal is only temporary.
Yeah, you mentioned that in dealing with that stock market, you know, the last few days, the Dow, they done lost a lot.
Yep.
And they said that the people that want to go on the weekend because they're afraid, but they lose the money.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all maybe not heard it, but they even forecasted a crash, stock market crash. And you thought when a recession hit in 2009, when people was losing their homes or something, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. People was killing themselves, losing their house. Now got to live in tents. It's not what we used to adapt into the change. And when it goes, when the old bird hang it up, you're gonna see a lot of people commit suicide. Like I said, they're not used to being so quote poor. And just doing a windstorm. Then we had here in Cincinnati. Some people was out power for 4 or 5 days. That was go crazy. No cable. Can't see. And what was our non-state tourist yacht at? Do we forget we in prison? This is prison for us? What life that you do have, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. But when we was out of the power, black folks was losing their gas stations, people ready to kill each other. It was a total panic. Running through the stores. Now imagine if the stores is closed down. You can't get to a store. What about people in my state don't get to us? Yeah. If you ain't strong with it, don't be out there.
And his messages have been telling people, hey, prepare. Don't always let the white man be your motivation for doing something. And that's the position we in, unless the white man stands up beside the side. I know that I reflect back out there every time I think about Mom and Dad and this food shortage and all the stuff that's going on. If you had a white man up here, say, hey, listen to him, because I tell you this, I tell you what I learned when I was in California. Half of California is under a famine. The land is basically gone. And these forest fires is moving from Washington state to other states. It's just burning up everything in its path. Pretty soon you won't be able to get a donut up out of California that has any moisture to it. A lot of people will be ready to jump and try to do something. But as long as you or I or Mike stand up here and say, hey, you better start preparing, and get your storehouse together. And if kids don't know what they talk about, just stick to teach them what the scriptures say. Just go back to Leviticus and teach all that, so forth, what we can eat and what we're not supposed to eat. Don't be telling me I need a storehouse. They're doing fine. That's what they told us the last time, doing Y2K. They're going out and buying all this stuff, putting stuff in place. And broke up 2000 just like it did 1999. All that money. Hey. But, that's the wisdom of our people. The old people can't warn. But as long as we do our job. Yes, sir, Madonna.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Regardless of the state of affairs in the world, it's awesome how Yahweh works. Because he puts warnings out there, and you can choose to see them or not. I see random signs. They give you a list of things that you need to prepare for an emergency. Blatantly, in public. The storefront of the Dollar Tree. There's an advertisement in the mall on just one of the little things that they have in there. Tell you what you need to be prepared for an emergency. Radio. Exactly. Yahweh is telling, this is what you need. You better get ready because something's getting ready to happen. Just like in Egypt. Yahweh put it on Joseph to tell him, like, you need to do X, Y, Z to prepare because it's getting ready to be a famine. He was in a position where he could help the people, and bam, the famine came, but they was able to make it through because they followed through with Yahweh's warnings. Personally, I don't understand how many times Israel got to be beat upside the head before we get it. But Yahweh is giving us a chance. I don't know why people don't want their chance until the water is up to their necks and then they're looking for life rafts. But I guess that's just the way Israel is. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Stay back and rebellious. No, it's true. Hey, you don't know what he's talking about. You don't know what he's talking about. I'll wait. I'll wait. Let's look at 2 Chronicles 25. But you see, King Asa, this one was strong with the Most High. Not even to the point where he would seek after the Most High first. Therefore, if the Most High do that. And I know it's hard now, you go to your doctor, you tell your doctor, well, okay, I'll wait and see. I'll wait to see. I know what you say and do, but I'll wait to see what the Almighty tells you to do. It's hard to do that now because you might be a little scared. In fact, they try to scare you to death. You might be dead. Next time you try to come here, you might be dead. You might not make it. I mean, they use all types of coercions and so forth for you to, jump on that chemical bandwagon and operations and so forth. But as long as your heart or your mind stays on the Most High, you're always going to come out okay.
Hallelujah.
Let's see, when I say 2 Chronicles 25. And Uzziah, first verse. And Uzziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoiakim, or Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh. And I want you to listen to this. Look at this again. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, but not with a perfect heart. Let's talk about that a little bit. But not with a perfect heart, or not with a perfect mind. Why does that make a difference? And sometimes we think just because we do it right, that we're okay. The question is this: the best that I can do, or is my heart or my mind still stand fast with the Most High? So what does that mean when it says, but not with a perfect heart? Brother Michael.
Praise God.
Hallelujah.
We're not done in sincerity. We're not putting forth the best. We're not putting forth it gets to a point where we feel like we've plateaued in understanding Torah. So I know everything, so I can we get to the point like in the book of Habakkuk where he said the law is lax. So we get lax. And we stop trying anymore for the Most High. And we begin to lax on the law to where when we come in, just like when we first come into the law and we first learn, a lot of us was on it. What's in this? What's this? I ain't going to the barbecue because you're going to have swine with the chicken. You're going to do this. This wicked. I don't know where that garment because it's legal. But then once you get into the law and then something happened, to where your mind, when you start thinking that you know everything, or you start getting to that point where you just going. People just show up for the Sabbath. But you at Sabbath class, but you having conversations about what you gonna do tonight. You at Sabbath class, but you still holding grudges and anger, and you still ain't your walk is not how it should be. So then what happens is at that point is the heart isn't perfect with you no more. I mean you keeping the Sabbath day. I mean you wear your fringes, you making sure that if you a man that your beard's not marred, and if you a woman, you making sure that all the garments are okay. But when it comes to being a talebearer or being a liar, those are things we lax on.
So absolutely true. Not with a perfect heart, or not with a complete heart, or not with a sincere heart, because all of it comes into the same thing. And we talked about your mind, so we want you to understand the state of your mind. See, the state of your mind when you are talking about this.
Sister Donna?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I was just going to say that if you're not doing it with a perfect heart, it's not something that you want to do. It's something that perhaps is expected of you, or something that you know that you're supposed to do. It's not something that you genuinely feel like you want to do. For instance, me being a wife, there's certain duties that come with being a wife. Am I doing them because, well, you always said I got to do it, but it ain't something I really want to do? Or is it that I have enough love for my husband and firstly Yahweh to want to do those things? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes, brother Mike.
Hallelujah. When I think about that, I think about it takes me back to Cain and Abel. He told him that they both brought confidence, but he said, that he said if your confidence falls, then sin lies at the door. Meaning that it wasn't done with sincere heart. He's like, yeah, I'm bringing you my first, my confidence, but I'm just doing it because I have to. But whereas Abel's was sincere, it was with a perfect heart, where Cain's wasn't. So that was like a perfect example for me, because people always ask that question, why they love Abel more than Cain, but it's a little deeper than why they love Cain. Abel came with a perfect heart, and he was an obedient. You can be an obedient child, or you being obedient because your mother gonna, you scared of your mom, you don't want to get a whooping, or you being obedient because it's the right thing to do. And I think that's the difference. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And I see a lot of people, what I get from this, sometimes we as Israel, we just go through the motions. Like, we do the law, but it's your mind state in doing the law. Is the delight there? You see? Or is you doing it with, because y'all said is what I got to do, I'm going to go ahead and do it. You're not doing it with any type of zeal at all. It's not there, and y'all told us. Because we don't delight in his laws, in his commandments, and statutes and precepts that he gave us. That's why he gave us into the hand of the enemy. We didn't enjoy ourselves in his great commandments that he gave us. So I just look at it as a man that he just went through the motions. Anyone else want to comment on this? If not, we're gonna go to Psalms 41. Psalms number 41. And it's interesting that he touched on this, because I was going to deal with it today. The mind state of Israel, the thoughts of Israel. The Psalms 41, we're going to start at verse number 1. I think we already dealt. You open up to Psalms 41. Let's go to Psalm 53. in verse number 1. That the fool has said in his heart, there is no Elohim, or said in his mind, there is no Elohim. Corrupt are they, and they have done abominable iniquity. There is none that doeth good. Elohim looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and that did seek Elohim. As we dealt with Psalms number 10, say the wicked through the pride of his confidence will not seek after Yah. Yah is not in all of his thoughts. And yet you have some foolish people that don't even believe that the Most High exists. They call themselves atheists. They don't even believe in Yah at all. And we as Israel, do we ever get in that mind state when things start going wrong in our lives? But man, is the Almighty, is he real or not? Is he with me or not? So we gotta ask ourselves questions. Do we question ourselves? Is the Most High, is he real? We know we read the book. We read about what he prophesied, so what happened to our people. But in our travel of this way of life, do we ever get to a low state that we start questioning if he's real? Or does he exist? Any comments on these verses? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 14. We're going to wind everything up with Proverbs chapter 14. So we're gonna start reading at verse number 13. It says, even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. Anyone want to comment on this? Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. What does this mean to you?
When I was looking at this verse here, and the one thing that I thought about, and it was so true, what it says there, verse 13, it says, even in love, the heart or the mind is sorrow. We've all probably been in that state of mind at one time or another due to an event that or calamity that happened, in the family, a funeral or something of that nature. And some of our acquaintances might have said something that was sort of funny or joyful. We might have laughed at it, but inward thoughts, inward feelings, we're still sorrowful. And a lot of times, that's what you'll find. People trying to cheer you up, people trying to raise your spirits, so to speak. But they can only do so much. Can only say so many joyful things. They can bring you up out of that. It's something that has to work sometimes with time. But that just goes to show you again that the interrelationship of the heart and mind. It's the same thing that is used in the scripture. They're not talking about the physical heart. They're talking about the center of being. So it rules everything. All your emotions, thought process, etc. So when we're thinking about our thoughts, or we're just sitting here contemplating on something, even in the Bible class, and it doesn't have anything to do with the Shabbat day, you better be aware, because you're going on track.
Yes, Mary.
Praise y'all.
Hallelujah.
That was key in the, as the elder stated about the laughter, and with the scriptures talking of the dealing with laughter. And I noticed that with a lot of your comedians. I mean, you take the most funniest comedian, and they usually have the most turmoil in their life. You take comedians like Red Fox. I watched the documentary on how he came up. Richard Pryor. Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence was caught running the streets naked because he had took some drugs. Then you have, Bernie Mac and a lot of our big name, Robin Williams, who committed suicide. And these were some of the most funniest guys. And in their laughter, they make the world laugh. But then at the end of the day, as this state here, it says, even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful. So even when you look at these guys, towards the ending of, and I'm just using this as an example, just towards the end of when Martin's show was coming to an end, you could see it all in his face, his mannerisms. He just didn't look happy. He forced jokes. You can almost see it. And then when you start thinking about it at the end of the day, they on stage, they made everybody laugh. I mean, people just went crazy laughing and having fun. And then when they come off stage, it says, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. And if you were to interview some of these comedians and just watch them and just watch how they just look at their countenance. Like when a comedian does a show, just look at their countenance when the show is over. Like I look at that. They don't laugh. They don't smile. They just throw their hands up to show respect for the people coming, and they're gone to the next show. Praise God.
Praise God. Hallelujah. Yes, that was Kim.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I can remember in my lifetime, sometimes, I would be, seriously laughing, real serious, and then, all of a sudden, I wouldn't know why in my heart, something else would hit me, and I, have another thought, and then I'm crying, and it was, I couldn't understand it, in 1 minute you laughing, and then not, because of the laughter, what was happening then, and another, instance, then I was thinking of something else, and then you find yourself crying. Sometimes you laugh and you could think like, what do I have to be happy about, and then you'll start, after a while you crying, anything to, your heart change just like that, and you in a whole nother situation or state of being, a state of mind.
That's true. That's true. I think Proverbs 15 and verse 13. It says, a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Anyone want to comment on that? A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Yes.
Hallelujah. I get a little bit different from that. I get on 13, a merry heart make a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow the heart the spirit is broken. I feel like with that is y'all basically telling us that if you have true joy, that's from y'all. To be happy is just something that comes and goes and passes. I think if you got true joy, you got that from y'all, your heart will be, it'll truly be merry. It'll truly be with joy. It's just not cheerful, but truly joyful and joyous. So I think that y'all said that he's giving me another partake on that, saying that if my heart is truly with y'all and I'm moving accordingly, then things that come about and I'm smiling or they give me some type of pleasure, it'll be a genuine pleasure. It just won't be for the moment, because I believe that's the difference between joy. I believe joy gives you a lifetime of happiness, and just having cheer and the spirit of the moment, happiness is just something that comes from the world.
You notice, and I really didn't pay too much attention to Alicia brought it up years ago. When you look at the old picture of the slaves, you don't see any of them smiling, do you? Any of them. But today, we smile like Chess cats, don't.